at the Secure Agent Mentor headquarters here in Springfield, Missouri, the big city. So we're hoping for some agents to join us live again. We do this every Tuesday night, and we had probably 50, 60 agents joining live last week at various times. And I want to talk to you tonight about how I made about $8,000 of annual premium in 1 week selling final expense insurance. Final expense insurance is extremely popular, and we have a lot of agents that sell final expense insurance in our agency. And I'm doing this a little earlier tonight. Last time I did this live video about selling final expense and actually working and calling Avatar final expense leads. It was probably about 7:30 p.m. Central to about 8:30 p.m. Central. I thought I'd throw a little twist at you. It's about 5:45 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we'll do this for 20, 30, 40, 60 minutes, just depending on how it goes, how many agents join us, and questions and comments that you guys have. Again, this is Cody Askins from Secure Agent Mentor, and I want to go over my results because last week I went over my appointment setting results. Well, now I want to dive into my results when I went out and worked those appointments and actually sold final expense out in the field, and how I made $8,000 in one single week selling final expense insurance. And I wouldn't even say that it was just the final expense, the Avatar leads that we worked, and that's the sole reason that I did so well, because I made about 2 to 3 times more sales than most agents do when they work Avatar final expense leads. And so I'll kind of walk through my results, and I'm sure I'll hit this quite a bit. Let me know if you have questions, because I want this to be an 30 leads. I set 12 appointments, and I actually have a few appointments to go. I believe I have 2 more this week. So it'll probably end up being somewhere around 14 appointments total. So out of 30 leads, I've set 12 appointments so far. I ran 10 appointments. So that means a couple of them canceled or backed out or forgot. Out of those 10 appointments that I actually physically ran, I had 6 appointments where I actually made sales. So out of the 10 appointments, in 6 of them, I made sales. I had a total of 10 sales or 10 applications collected over those 10 appointments. And 4 of those appointments ended in no sales at all. So, out of those 6 appointments that I actually physically made sales in, of the 10 that I ran, I made 10 sales. So wrote 10 applications over the last week, since last Tuesday night. Made 10 sales and about $8,000 worth of annual premium. And so and most agents know what annual premium is. Annual premium is the premium that the client is going to pay their first year paying premiums. And so that is $8,000 of annual premium, which is the total premium for the first year that they will pay. And so again, out of those 30 leads, I set 12 appointments, ran 10 appointments, made appointments in 6 of the 10. Made sales in the 6 of the 10 appointments, for a total of 10 sales, 10 applications, 10 new policies, whatever you want to call it, for a grand total of $8,000 of annual premium. $8,000 of annual premium in one single week, which breaks it down to about $800 a sale. $8,000 of annual premium divided by 10 is $800 of annual premium per sale. And that means that my cases were an average of about $66 per month. That means the clients that I sold, the average premium was about $66, which is pretty normal. We see a $60 to $70 average premium. Some are big. I wrote a case that was $157 a month, and as little as a $30 a month case. But over the 10 sales that I made in 1 week, 8 grand of annual premium. The average sale was $66 per month of premium, which I get that question a lot. Hey, what's your average premium? Last week it was $66. That was the average premium that I sold. And it varies week to week, client to client, house to house. There'll be some weeks where I'll come back and I'll have averaged $120 of premium. Some weeks I'll come back and average 50, but it normally averages out about 60 to 80, around $65 to $75 to kind of hone it in on a number there. But I've made final expense sales where I've bundled, and I've done where I've bundled a bunch of policies. Ended up doing probably, I've done sales as big as $300 a month. To kind of give you what size of cases I've done. Most of my cases are not that big, but you still have some good sized cases. You have the little $20 cases, and you have some really, really big cases as well. But again, last week was very good. I used Avatar Final Expense Leads and our system and our script to put up $8,000 of annual premium in 1 week. Since last Tuesday night, I did $8,000 of annual premium. And so what I want to do is I want people to be able to join live, be able to see what we're talking about, learn how I did it, ask questions, because I want you to ask questions. And normally questions will pop up in the left of my screen here, and I'm able to actually physically answer those, which is nice. I'm actually sending my wife a message right now to let her know I'm in the middle of a live video, and I gotta wrap up some stuff, and I'll be home later. I'm hoping we'll get some questions and comments soon to ask questions about how I put up $8,000 of annual premium in 1 single week. So if you have a question, please ask. Please ask. It'll show up on the left of the screen, and then I will be able to actually physically answer your questions. Because I get a lot of agents to say, what's the biggest week you've ever had? How did you write $8,000 of annual premium? And the answer to the how did I do what I did last week? And it's not out of the norm. It's not like it's not my best week by far at all. I've had weeks as big as 10, 15, 20 grand. But last week, and the reason I was able to put up $8,000 of annual premium is not only do I feel like I'm as good at selling final expense, if not better, than any other agent in the world, number one. And so I feel like I've figured final expense insurance out. I've honed my craft. I've improved my skill, and I feel like I'm darn good at selling final expense insurance. And the ways that I feel like I'm really good is I'm relentless. I know how to overcome objections. There is no objection that gets in the way of me making a sale. It doesn't happen ever. And it shouldn't. If you know your craft and you know how to sell and you know how to overcome objections, you should be prepared for those. So I'm always very well prepared. I'm relentless, and I overcome objections to actually get in front of people. And then when I get in front of them, I have a sales process that I follow. Number one, I warm up. Number two, I fact find. Most agents don't do this, but during my fact-finding process, step number 2 of my appointment process, I find out who their beneficiary is going to be, how they plan to pay, all the different, what type of, how much coverage they need, if they have debt, what the purpose of this is, why they replied, what was the main reason why they replied to a lead card or an avatar lead or an internet lead or whatever the case is. And also, if they're going to pay, if they have a checking account, what their budget is. Those are all fact-finding deals that I ask. And most people don't ask those things till later in the application process. But if something is going to come up, I want it to come up early. I want to be able to answer it. And that's kind of backwards from the way most people do it, but it works well for me. So I warm up, I fact-find, I build value. And the way I build value is I go over 5 or 6 or 7 benefits that my policies include. And I highlight and I go over each one of those in detail, and then I ask them if they're ready to do business once I give them the options. So the way I build value is I actually physically write them down, and I give them, and this is kind of the way, and if I can find a pad, I'll even kind of show you what I do so you can see on paper. So this is how I build. This is how I build value. This is my benefits presentation. So feel free to write this down and use this. I'll say, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, I want to go over the benefits of the reasons why people purchase policies from us, and the benefits that individuals find important and that our policies include. And the number one thing is day one coverage. And the reason this is so important is there's a lot of policies out there that don't give you day one coverage, that want you to wait 2 or 3 years for coverage to actually take effect. We have policies that can give you day one coverage, so you don't have to wait. And if you pass away a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, whenever it is, we're able to deliver that claim check without you having to meet a waiting period. The second benefit is whole life to age 100. And it varies by the type of policy I'm offering and the type of client I'm in front of as far as what I can tell is important to them. But whole life to age 100, I tell them, hey, we don't want to sell you a term policy or a policy that's going to increase, or a policy where it stops at age 80, because we don't know how long we're going to live. We want this policy to be there no matter how long you are. And so we want this to last your entire life. The third benefit is that our policies have a price lock, which is important because just once we figure out what your budget is and what you're comfortable with, and normally I've already found this out ahead of time, once we know what your budget is and you say, hey, I want to do this, I can afford this, that doesn't, just because you can afford this price today does not mean you can afford an increase down the road. Our policies come with a price lock. It's guaranteed to never go up, which our clients love. The fourth benefit is that our policies pay double for an accident. Some policies do. Other policies that don't, you can actually add a rider so that it does that. And if it's important to them, we want to make sure that it has that. Because we don't know how we're going to pass away. So a lot of people love that, hey, that $10,000 benefit can turn into $20,000 just like that. Leave a little extra money to your family. The fifth benefit is that it builds cash value, which a lot of people love because it's kind of like a savings account. It accrues money and builds cash value in your policy. So if you ever need a loan or ever need to take money out of the policy in the future, you could. We don't recommend that you do, but however, it's your money, and it's nice to know that it's accruing money within there that is yours and that you have access to. And the sixth benefit is a local agent. And I go into this in great detail, and I even tell them, hey, a lot of times clients have some minor changes that they want us to handle. Like they want us to change their beneficiary, change their address, change their phone number, change their bank account, their payment information, whatever it is. It's nice to know that you can actually, instead of having to call a 1-800 number and press 1 for English, 2 for Spanish, and sit on hold for an hour, it's nice that you can actually just pick up the phone, call my cell phone, everything gets changed immediately. Whatever you want to happen, we handle it immediately. The other, and I even tell them, hey, even more important than just minor changes is, God forbid you pass away one day, which is going to happen. We don't know when it is. And when you're beneficiary, it comes time to collect. Normally they're grieving or they're celebrating their life, whatever they do. But there's a lot of they're burdened with all these different things that they've got to handle, that they've got to prepare, they've got to put in place for because you passed and your funeral day. And so rather than adding an extra burden like claiming on the life insurance policy, if you buy something through the mail or over the phone or over the internet, and you don't have a local agent, then your beneficiary has to actually physically pick up the phone, call a 1-800 number, and wait on hold for 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, and then the insurance company is going to mail claim paperwork out, and then the beneficiaries have to get death claim certificates together and all the claim paperwork and get it notarized and then mail it back. And sometimes that can take some time. So we take time out of the equation and we simplify the process. When you pass away, you tell your beneficiary, hey, give Cody a call on his cell phone and he'll handle it immediately. They won't have to do a thing. I will do it all. And a lot of times we're able to deliver checks within a matter of days or weeks. And so it's really, really nice. Another benefit I can also add sometimes is a cash back. If I'm able to put them in a better situation and actually help them by cash surrendering some cash value in another policy, which is nice. And so once I do this, before I've already written 3 options typically. And so I will have already had these written down, 10,000, 15,000, and 20,000. And I try to get policies that I can tell are within their budget. And I'll even write it out. And I'll have it written out before. So once I get through the benefits, then I'll say, okay, I'd like to show you 3 options. And with those 3 options, all 3 of those options come with all 6 of these benefits. And a lot of times, before I even get to the options, I'll say, hey, which of these 6 benefits did you truly like the best? And the reason I like that is I'm getting them to make a decision. I'm getting them to pick along the way. If you can get them to make small decisions, it's easier for them to make a slightly bigger decision once you get to that point. And so then I get to this. Okay, we've got $10,000 for $50 a month. $15,000 is $75, and $20,000 is $100. All 3 of these options come with all 6 of those benefits. Of these 3, which are you most comfortable with? I shut up and I let them respond. Sometimes I'll word it differently. Which of these 3 are you most comfortable with? Which of these 3 best fits your budget? Which of these 3 do you like the best? Which do you feel like is the most important? Which do you feel like satisfies what you're wanting to accomplish? It don't matter how you word. You ask them, and then you shut up until they choose. And 90-something% of the time, they will pick one. And a lot of times, what's funny is you'll notice a pattern. About half the time, they'll pick the one in the middle. It's just psychological. So that's part of what happens. And then, so that was building value and presenting and closing. And then after as part of the closing process, once they pick, I've got an application ready, and I immediately go into what's your full legal name, and getting the information for the application, doing the phone interview so that we can know that they're approved before we leave the house. And then after that, after I've got all the payment information, a voided check, filled out the paper app, and the phone interview's been completed and they've been approved, I will simply go into what I call cool down mode. A lot of agents will simply sell a client a policy and then run and get out the door. I want to take a little bit of extra time, an extra 3, 4, 5, 10 minutes to, if I have time, to build that relationship and to improve the chances of that policy sticking. I always leave a card. I leave a business card magnet. These are just extra steps that I take to show that I care, to show that I'm here, to show that I'm there, to show that I'm available. And so I do whatever I can to make sure that they feel good about what we did. And that they don't think I'm just an agent trying to sell them something and then run out the door. I want them to know that, I'm there for the long haul to do what's best for them. And so I cool down or wrap up or whatever you want to call it. And so that's how I run an appointment. I'm relentless. I get more appointments per call than per lead than any other agent I've ever heard of. Quick, on Tuesday night before I got on the live video with you guys, I set the appointment and I made 3 sales in that house the very next day. I'm relentless. I get appointments and sales that most agents never get, simply because I know what I'm doing. I have a system, a script, and I know that if I can get the right type of training and support, quality, consistent lead flow, and if I see enough people and ask enough people to buy, it will work out. I will make good money. And so if you're sitting there saying, hey, I want to make 100 grand, I want to make 150 grand, I want to make 200 grand, go to my website, secureagentmentor.com. You can see it scrolling in the background. This monitor right here shows my main homepage at secureagentmentor.com. And then this monitor over here in the middle shows my agent training website. So if you have questions, if you want to join our team and sell through our brokerage house or agency or IMO or FMO or whatever you want to call it, call our office. Our number's on the bottom of the website. Ask for me, Cody. If I'm not available, ask for Derek or Josh or any of our recruiters. And then also, agents can also go to our website and become a member of our agent training website. It's only $19 a month, and you get access to everything that we know and all of the tools and resources. You can also go to our website, and if there's a blue box at the top, you can see it in the background, and you're actually able to get final expense secrets and a script automatically emailed to you, and you're giving your email to us for free so that you get email updates. So if you have questions, or if you want to join our team, become a member, give us your email for free, whatever you prefer of those three, we're open to that. We want to make sure that if you have questions, or that if you know what that we want to know that you know what you're doing, that you feel like things are working, and that you're making sales, you're making money, and if we can be a resource or help in any way, we want to be able to help. So again, to recap some numbers, unless we get some questions. I know we got quite a few questions and comments last week. If we get any questions, we'll continue. If not, we'll wrap it up here in a few minutes. But of the 30 leads that I ordered, I've got a few appointments over the next couple days. So I could end up having a few extra sales or a couple more appointments, maybe 14 or 15 appointments. But I set 12 appointments. I ran 10. Of the 10 appointments that I ran, I made sales in 6 of those 10 appointments for a total of 10 sales or 10 applications or 10 policies written, whatever you want to call it. 10 sales, $8,000 of annual premium, which comes out to about $800 of annual premium per sale, which if you divide $800 divided by 12, you get about $66 a month of monthly premium. I get a lot of agents say, hey, what's your monthly premium? Over the last 7 days, it's been $66 a month. And I made enough sales to have an $8,000 annual premium week. Again, by knowing what I'm doing, feeling like I'm one of the best final expense agents in the nation, and being relentless. I get appointments and sales that most agents do not get. And it's because I'm relentless. I have a quality, consistent lead flow that I know I can get on the phone with, and I can go see within a couple days and make sales immediately. And I also door knock some leads. If I can't get a hold of them and I'm going to be going by their area, or if I've got to go out of the way a little, whatever it is, I will door knock those leads. If I cannot get a hold of them and I'm going and I'm running appointments in their area anyway, or on the way to their area, or on the way home from the appointment or whatever, I'm going to door knock. And I'm going to say, hey, I'm Cody. You spoke to Joanne from my office about about the new state-regulated burial life insurance programs. She told you we would give you a call. But I was actually out in your area anyway, so why don't I come in and give you that information? And when I'm door knocking, a lot of times, if I can tell they're going to let me in, before I even tell them while I'm there, sometimes I'll say, is it okay if I come in for a quick second? And a lot of times they'll let me. Believe it or not, they will let you come in. I had a lady this past week, we had called her twice, left her a voicemail, couldn't get a hold of her, and I showed up on her door, and she was nice, and I said, "Hey, I'm Cody," and she was talking. She was petting her dog, and we were just kind of talking to her about our house and stuff. So I said, "Hey, can we come in for a quick second?" She didn't even know why we were there. The goal is to get in the house. So we got in the house. I explained why we were there. So whether I explain it before or after, that's the main goal. I want to get in the house, and whether it's from setting an appointment or door knocking, doesn't matter. So unless we have any questions, this is how I had an $8,000 annual premium week, and I plan to have a lot of those weeks in 2017.
At 1 o'clock. So